All right, so one thing we were able to fix is the wideband. So by replacing the O2 sensor, the wideband controller is working now. So that is fixed. But there's a lot of other issues that still need to be addressed. So next, we're gonna be looking at the coil pack and the wiring and see if there's any issues there.
There is an issue, we know that. We don't know what the issue is. We know that the connector here, like whoever did or worked on this particular aspect of the car, which I'm pretty sure is the previous owner, kind of put things together incorrectly. So a lot of this stuff on the car is done really nice. And then you have stuff like, you know, coil packs. They're mounted wonderfully. So by unplugging and plugging in this coil, nothing happens. Meaning like the engine's running, it's missing, you can feel a miss. Plug this in, nothing happens. If you start squeezing and moving the wiring around right here, the engine speed changes and this one starts to work. So we know we have an issue either with the connector or with the wiring right here. So I'm probably just gonna remove this ugly stuff. It's your car, you can decide. I think it's wonderful.
You don't like blue?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is straight from, you know, AutoZone, maybe Amazon, something like that. But anyway, we need to get to the wiring and we need to take a look. But I can already see, if you want to zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that explains
Look
a lot.
at that. I was going to say I found a previous repair, which I did.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not sure if I would call this a repair so much.
It was a good attempt.
As much as it would be not a repair.
It was an attempt.
So I think we might have found the miss.
Okay.
Which could have been that there was literally nothing holding this together. So now we're going to have to cut the
zip ties.
Cut the zip tie. So if you want to hold on a second, let me get a snip. So there are fancy little snips. And
Oh, you mean the fender covers to cover up some of the scuff marks?
Well,
you don't want
know,
to add extra?
It's good practice.
It builds character, you know, like scars on man, scratches on cars.
You could be onto something.
No,
okay,
we don't want to scratch
so
more.
when somebody put this on, I guess you could say they did this kind of correct. They cut little holes for the wiring to come out. So the sheathing is covering everything, so we can't even get to the wiring now because it's inside the sheathing. So we'll have to cut this away. I would probably just put some of the OEM style, just the corrugated stuff on here. But we can, and the reason I say that is because we can open it and we can look at wiring and then we can put it back together and then seal it. There's no way to look at the wiring right now.
Okay.
So it's like, we're gonna have to pull all of this apart. Ooh, that's hot. So, meaning unpull or pull out all the coil pack connections. I would myself like to secure these. That seems very wonky to kind of do it that way. So do a repair here. So what I think our next steps will be, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to like think through like, what do we want to do? Is we'll unhook all the coil packs. We'll kind of pull the wiring out. Go over all of it because I can see it's like somebody's been messing with it. So double check everything here. Pull the coils out of their little areas. Pull the brackets out. Replace all the spark plugs. Put new plugs in. Put these back in, and then actually secure them, and then make sure the wiring's good.
All right, that sounds like a good plan.
So that's a good next step.
All right, well, let's get to it.
Yep.
shallow ulcers to the wind. Look at it. Look at it.
It's not in the light.
Oh, it's not in the light. There you go. Here you go. Spoiled princess over here. Awesome kinds of tools everywhere. Here you go.
So we have removed the intake manifold and we got good access to the wires. So our next step is going to cut these wires right at the solder point, right here. And then we're gonna take this piece over to our prep station at our work table. And what we're gonna do is from this point on, we're going to build a new wire setup for our coils. And then we're going to bring it back and we're going to attach it to the OEM wire. So without further ado, let's go and take a look what we're going to be doing at our workstation. To build the new coil pack connector wiring, we will need a few tools. Most importantly, the actual wire. And here we use Dorman 18 gauge. I used black for ground and I picked red, well, red carbon, what can I say, for the positive. We use Toyota OEM coil pack connectors, weather seals, and terminals. I also used a razor blade, dikes, wire stripper. Other strippers are optional and dependent on the size of your wallet. But don't forget the heat gun, crimping tool, and of course some good quality heat shrink connectors and tubing. Links to the tools are also available in the description below, so check it out. Before building the wiring for each coil, I started by measuring the old wires. Gotta make sure my new ones are the same length so I don't run into the problem with too much or too little wire. This is my first time doing anything like this, so I'm figuring it out as I go. It took me a while to get into a rhythm and feel comfortable with the tools in my own hands. If you're new to wiring, don't worry if it feels awkward at first. It did to me. Just keep going and you'll get the hang of it. Once I had the perfect wire length, I stripped off the sheathing and gently and slightly twisted the copper strands together. This keeps them from fraying and prevents a weak crimp, which could mess with the quality of the crimp. Then I crimped the wire into a heat shrink connector. Just make sure you're using the right gauge. After that, I hit it with a heat gun to shrink the connector and also added extra shrink tubing for more protection. Well, my husband always goes overkill on these things, and that's how I'm being trained. Finally, I inserted the Toyota OEM terminal into the coil pack connector, making sure it's facing the right way. And that's it. The coil pack connector wiring is done. Now it's time to hook it up to the car's wiring harness. I followed the same process, crimping, heat shrinking, all that good stuff. But here's something important that if you've never done wiring on a car before, take your time. Figure out your stance, where your tools will go, how will you reach them, because trust me, it matters. Because let me tell you, a calm, patient person can turn into a full-blown demon, speaking from experience, when you're elbow deep in an old OEM wire with barely any slack and suddenly your crimp is out of reach or you've got nowhere to set your heat gun down. So find your place of zen before you start, set up your workspace, make it work for you, feng shui your wiring setup. It will save you sanity and make the whole process way more enjoyable.
The other day, I came here and I was talking to the caller. And I told the car that it's getting new coils. He was shocked.
better fitting for that joke is your neighbor.
Well, we knew that.
Weird. So this thing has a 4-inch outlet and it goes down to 3-inch and then it goes back up to 4-inch. It's like 4-3-1. So that will probably be a problem in the future.
So we finished repairing the coil pack wiring. So we had an opportunity to fit them, we put them back on, dress them for now. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take this back off. I'm going to take the opportunity and just touch up and clean up as much as I can. We're going to replace the spark plugs. And then we're going to install the coil packs back. We're going to secure them this time with actual fasteners. And we're going to install the wiring like that, everything back in. We have another pack that we can use to dress them better. We'll try to do our best to clean afterwards around the engine bay. And once that's done, we can start the car and it sounds good, it's happy, it's running, and we can take it for a drive. One thing I want to note is that this was, for me personally, first time doing any type of wiring work. It was scary, stressful, but at the end, very, very fun, and I have a whole new appreciation for all those gals and guys out there that do wiring work. Ooh, it's so pretty. That's what they fixed?
This is the old one.
Oh, I thought it had like little cracks on the corners, no?
It has all of these dings,
Uh-huh.
which I filed down a lot of them, hoping they wouldn't like bitch and whine.
Okay, this is not related to the car.
You know what? It's the same wheel that's in here.
Okay. I believe you. But is it this car's wheel? You look, oh, what's that? Is that going into this car? No, it's not. Check this out. The spark plugs are coated in fuel, which means the car was running too rich. One reason? The damaged wiring we found. So it all kind of starts to make sense and connect. A bad wire meant inconsistent spark, leading to all this buildup. And here, where I got to learn something new, gapping spark plugs for the first time. I used a spark plug gap tool that I got from Amazon. I'll share the link below. And I could not believe how precise this whole process has to be. Like fractions of a millimeter make a difference.
Don't use the tool.
Oh.
This is all at feel first. You have to do this by feel. Don't push, just lightly turn, and it will take itself down into the board. Even in 5 years when you're working with something, I'm still gonna yell at you about this. I've had to take engines apart.
Okay.
People.
It's tight.
Okay, remember what I said? Get it till click, 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 points forward.
Wait, this is it.
Here, let me charge it. Well, they all have a lifespan, hours and stuff.
You want this to point forward?
Well, I was using that as a reference.
Okay, well it's like tight and it's pointing this way.
Well, that is how you go like this to reset it, and then wiggle it to where it's like,
Okay.
okay, it's gonna feel very loose. It's gonna feel very loose. And you just go like, yep, and now go back.
Forward.
Yep.
Have a turn.
You're gonna start to feel, it's gonna start to bite.
It feels the same. Can you feel it?
No, that should definitely feel tighter now.
It
That
is.
doesn't feel tighter to
It
you?
is feels tighter. I just want to know, this is like, do I stop here?
No, I'd go a little more.
Okay.
Stop right there.
Okay.
Let me feel it. Yeah, like that's good. You can feel like the bending.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And at that point, that's when she says, no, 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 no. Good job.
All I have.
It's not easy. Those are a pain.
Oh,
Good
yes.
job. Good job.
late. We're gonna wrap it up for today. As you saw, we got a lot done with troubleshooting. So our next step will be tomorrow. We're gonna hook up the battery. We're actually waiting for one of the original tunes that used to be on this car, because there may be something wrong with the tune that's currently on. So hopefully we can get that tomorrow. We'll run it through and we'll start it. So tomorrow is a big day. When we start it, fingers crossed, hopefully it sounds good and we can take it for a drive. Scratch that. Too much snow, we're not taking it for any drive. But at least we hope that it starts and runs smoothly. So that's it for today. Thanks so much.